This week's episode of Behind the Billboard is sponsored by Bauer Media Outdoor.
Hey Dan, Hugh and listeners, I'm Mark Darcy-Smith, Insights Manager at Bauer Media Outdoor, and my powerful poster of the week is Marmite's We Might Go and Win It poster. I'm a fan of piggyback marketing as it's a strategy that allows brands to react to current events, but the fun part for us is it comes with both winners and losers. It's not an easy thing to get right if you don't know or understand the event you're being attached to. In Marmite's case, they already had a limited edition rebrand on shelves building familiarity during the World Cup. And so, at a time when England reached the World Cup semi-final for the first time in 12 years, this poster was perfectly timed with the pre-match anxieties that were felt across the nation.
We're here.
Here we are.
Well, here we are. It's been a while since we've done a remote one.
I know.
But we're together.
Yeah, no, that's the main
You can
thing.
see my face.
Yeah. Well, really quite close today.
Yeah. Do you like it?
You're normally at the other end of the table, which
You
is much
smell my
better.
aftershave.
No, but Adrian said we can't be in the big one. So we're just going to do a little one and we're going to have Ian Potter.
Yes. Can't wait for that.
So for our listeners, Ian is the man behind probably the greatest billboard of all time.
So
Certainly,
we're just going to talk behind the billboard, the greatest billboard of all time, just today. Yeah,
it's the Araldite, the car, also sticks handles to teapots, Araldite poster, which wins every best of 100 billboards everywhere. And it was no surprise it won ours. So
before we get into that, though,
yes.
What have we been seeing on?
Ooh, that's nice. It's disturbingly working quite well, that, isn't it? So we had, there was something very nice for IKEA. I don't know if you saw it.
I did, yes.
The rearranging of stuff. Fucking hell. That's very sweet media. That's by Rethink. And I think the guy's name evades me, but the CCO is going to be the head of the Cannes
Lion
jury.
Outdoor Jury. Yeah. Yep.
So well done, you guys. That was an amazing piece. There was something I put up today, actually. It was a bit of a left field one, but it's PSG.
Yeah, I saw that.
Fucking hell. That's just cool. I know, I'm not...
Which is to coincide with the Champions League second leg semi-final between PSG and Bayern Munich.
And the winners are going to face the mighty Arsenal, aren't they, in the final? It's gone really quiet.
I mean, the great thing about this segment and Ooh, That's Nice is that we are sponsored by a fabulous company called View to Fill. They are the photography and video experts for out of home. They do some incredible photos of campaigns that really help campaigns live beyond the medium. So
I spotted a couple more. Yeah, sorry, just catching up. Sorry, Dan. Uber have just done a very nice sort of second iteration of their campaign where they use shots and use particular parts of the shots to join to emphasise the service. Nick Meek shot these again. They're really good. They're sort of up there with his first batch. And then also there was something from Tesco we really liked, the Tesco fruit giant.
Oh yeah, well I love the TV.
TV's amazing. It's so
great.
cute. It's so every bit of it. You go, oh yeah, I wonder what I'm going to do at the end.
The kids with fruit is really good.
But then I think there's a clever observation. They used the end of term photo, the team shot, and then put the fruit giant in the back of that.
But I thought the Piccadilly Lights copy looked great, actually. Yeah. Which I thought was brilliant for the fruit giant.
We should also mention, I know we did a bit of a marathon thing as well. We did a special post on that, and there was a lot of Nike, which
they love a contextual ad.
Yeah. But then someone pointed out, Kevin Chester's on LinkedIn. It's quite interesting that Adidas supplied the shoes to the runner who won it. And I bumped into Johnny Forsyth yesterday, who's obviously a great friend who runs Neverland's his own agency, and he's a big runner. And he was saying, hi, Johnny. He was saying, obviously, you know him, sorry. He thinks Nike aren't getting it right and Adidas are, and the ads should be written more by people who run.
Well, it's quite interesting, that shoe, wasn't it? Did you read about it? I mean, it's a disposable shoe. I mean,
okay.
We're
you're talking not to a runner. So
you're a barefoot swimmer, aren't you?
Yeah.
But it's not proper sport unless you use proper footwear.
There's something to be said. He was saying about make it more hyper localized to London. So get people writing the ads about literally.
Well, they did that. They run London. They've done, Nike have been all over it, and they do like a everyman campaign or every person campaign rather than just. Nike have also done that before, by the way. They've made runners a runner's special shoe. So this one was interesting because obviously he went faster than anyone's gone before, and the shoe made the headlines as soon as he crossed the line. So it's a good piece of marketing, that's for sure.
I think they're
bit of outdoor marketing.
They're all winners. Yeah,
they're all winners. Okay. Everyone who crossed that line.
Talking of winners. Spurs have won a game of football.
I wondered where you were going.
Wait a minute. So did I. But then I realised you've not won 2 games of football.
2 games of football.
That's fucking
still
amazing,
going down.
Mate. No, you're not. You're staying up. We qualify for the Champions League.
Look,
and City get charged with 115 offences. That's a perfect season.
Anyway, listen. Today we are going to be on a Zoom call with Mr. Potter. So we should probably try and log in. And see if he's there waiting for us.
Okay, let's check him. Right, here we go. Ian Potter, legendary art director and the man behind possibly the greatest billboard of all time, as voted by our guests on this show. Welcome to Behind the Billboard.
Yeah, welcome, Ian.
Hi, thank you.
So, Ian, just so our listeners know, so Ian is
legendary. That's not normally used.
We'll wait to the end. I think you are very much. Ian's in Spain. So is it sunny, Ian?
It is sunny.
Yeah.
So I'm in the middle of olive groves. So if you hear a tractor go by,
he's literally in the great outdoors.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Spain are you, Ian?
About an hour from Granada, so inland.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. I like Granada. I had my
48. I have to drive to see about an hour to see my first 48 sheet. So.
Oh, wow.
Okay, we'll come on to that. So before we're going to get into it, we're going to do the Ian facts. Ian facts. So we've already said Ian's legendary, but we'll just tell you why a bit. Ian's 35-year career in the business has seen him work at some of the most prestigious agencies in the world. DDB, FCO, Chiat Day and TBWA have all benefited from Ian's incredible talent. Ian has won every major award going, including a black pencil from D&AD and a Cannes Palme d'Or. It's hard to imagine there are no higher accolades in our industry. So we are really lucky to have you today, Ian. Thank you. Ian has created...
It's all downhill after that, isn't it?
And goodbye.
Really.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Last fact, Ian's created iconic work for huge brands, including the small matter of launching Nike in the UK, which we're going to chat about in a minute. So, Ian, welcome along. This is the bit where we all ask people what they've been up to lately. So what do you do now if you're not doing advertising? You're doing plastics, were you saying, or something the other day?
Yeah, apart from... So as I say, we've got olive trees and stuff. So apart from knowing a lot about olives and tending the land, I am a founding partner in a company called Ape2O.
Right.
As H2O, and it's an anti-plastic bottle water company.
Brilliant.
And our aim is to put an end to single-use plastic bottles.
Wow.
And we are putting about to put machines all over London. We've got water vending machines.
Right.
And we've got one if you go through Marylebone, we have one in Marylebone Station. We've got one in Vauxhall, Richmond, Wimbledon, Kingston, and I forget all the other places.
How did you get onto this? How long has it been going?
We've been going for quite a while, about 7 years, but COVID hit when we started it. It's a guy who used to work with me on new business, and he was in Australia, came back, and we were talking. I wasn't doing anything, and he wasn't doing anything, and he'd had this idea about. He'd seen all the plastic thing, and so we got together, and it was a thought of, look, one of the things I said to him was, what you should do now, right at the beginning, is do the advertising for it. Because one of the problems I always had was when you'd meet a client,
right,
and you go, I wish you'd come in before you'd done the logo or done the line.
Yeah.
Because you're already going down a track before it started. And I said, look, here's an opportunity to do everything clean, so you know your strategy as well as the idea that's going along side by side. So we did the name and the strategic bit right at the beginning. So it's remained along all the time, really. And cool. What happened was plastic, the plastic scandal, if you like, was about to explode just before COVID.
Right.
And the same way that in the 50s they knew that tobacco was, killing everybody.
Yeah.
But they didn't stop till another 20 years. I mean, plastic is just horrendous. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And we all there are 7 million plastic bottles a day get thrown into landfill in the UK.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And now they'll be with us for 1,000 years.
That's mad.
So it doesn't go away.
I mean, I was reading about microplastics the other day in the ocean, and like this in our food chain. It's like,
I mean, they reckon that all of us consume about a credit card load of plastic a month.
Gosh,
that's what we eat
in microplastics.
It leaches. So if you buy a plastic bottle of water that's been in there, it could have been in there 2 years or 3 years, or they put a Mountain View on it. It's been sitting in a warehouse for 3.5 years in a plastic bottle. So it's a thing called leaching. So you're taking it in all the time.
It's funny because our kids and us, and we never ever buy it now because we've got these metal bottles we fill up.
Lifetime bottles.
I always hope, in my sort of naive way, always glass half full, think, well, we're doing our bit. Whenever I go to the swimming pool, it's a really great thing. You press the button and it says, by filling this up, you've saved 2 plastic bottles. So it's good. But then, like you say, it's down to the brands, the producers to stop.
Well, I mean, the problem began with they didn't do, when we were kids, if you had, you used to find beer bottles and take them back to the pub because you got money back.
Yeah.
So you'd get a penny or whatever it was on beer bottles. So if we needed some money to buy football or something, on your summer holidays, and if you'd burst one, you'd all go off and try and find bags of bottles and things and take them around different pubs before you got.
Weren't they threatening to do that in Scotland with plastic bottles? They were going to do a kind of.
I think they've started to do returns, but so when you get companies that they have nothing about their waste, they don't have to control their waste at all, and then they just threw it away. So I mean, you're obvious criminals on it. I mean, it's Coke and all the huge brands just get thrown away, and it's but then the plastic wrapping and stuffed cling film, and it's just everywhere. So even the pallets that boxes come in are wrapped in plastic. I mean, it's just it just goes on and on and on. And the problem is, it's been sold as all these things have been sold as convenience for us. But it's not. It's convenience for big business, I mean, it's only a 30-year-old problem, really. I mean, I remember when Evian launched when I was at DDB.
Yeah.
So that was in the late 70s, and it was that Au revoir campaign. I think McCann's did it. Really nice lines, sort of French puns, and we all said we didn't have bottled water. It didn't exist.
No.
And that was, so it's only a 30-year-old problem, really, and then it became, So that's what I've been doing.
Okay.
Listen, it's great to have you on. We want to start, as we always do, with a segment we call the Billboard at the End of My Street, which is sponsored by a company called Super Optimal. There's design intelligence for out of home. Appreciate that you just said that you are 45 minutes from your nearest 48 sheet. So what have you got for us in terms of the Billboard at the end of your street?
Well, I asked my partner to go outside of his place and take a picture of the nearest one, and I have a fever tree billboard.
Ah, yeah, yes, we can see that.
Yeah, we've got it.
Do you want to talk us through it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just let me.
It says straight up or mixed. It's a matter of taste.
Yeah, it's. I think the first thing is we were always taught that food shots should look tasty, you know, and and that's the same as booze. And it's funny enough, one of the ads in the Best 100, the Rawlings, you know how poster. Yep. I mean, if you look at the photography, it's beautiful. I mean, but all photography was then, from good, it wasn't all, but all good agencies. I mean, photographers, that would take a day to do that, to do that shoot, you know, a bottle. And I mean, it was something that people took a long time over. And then you look at it and you think, well, to me, that's never seen a piece of paper. It's been done on computer. Yeah. Now if you do it on a piece of paper, right?
For the listeners, Ian's redrawn this with his marker on a pad, and he's holding it straight up.
Hold it up again. Hold it up again, Ian. I need to take a photograph of this. Sorry, one second. Thank you, mate. Got it.
Yeah.
So when you do it like that, there's not a lot there really. You would sort of look at that and go straight up or mixed. It's a matter of taste. I mean, yeah. And then nothing.
I mean, it's a classic product.
You have to italicize, you know, the words that you want to emphasize. And then, I mean, I wouldn't like to draw that background with my magic markers. You'd be there all day.
Well, you'd probably create a hole in that paper as well, wouldn't you? I think it's a classic. I think it's on
computer. It's just...
What is it? Is it like it's a cross track or something? Is it? It looks like it's on. Yeah.
It's funny because Fever Tree, you always feel like, well, as I feel, they never quite get the advertising the product deserves because it's a really
I have it. It's a nice product. Yeah. It's you know,
but it doesn't quite
it's got a good
land.
Story to it, and
it's funny like
you know, I can't see it being a kids thing. You know, I can't see it being for kids. So, but it's terribly sort of. I don't know. It looks like candy rather than that sort of adult thing. You know?
Let's face it; it's a boring product ad to show its product. It's not
because it's a really great mixer. Like it's Schweppes' main competitor, isn't it? But
good product shit ad. Let's just move on, shall we?
Dan summed that one up nicely.
But Ian, we always use this segment to just talk about the state of out of home, and obviously, you know, you said you're living in Spain now. You're in the olive groves up above Granada. There's less out of home for you to see than when you were in London or in LA or Amsterdam.
Yeah.
But what's your take on the state of the creative side of the out of home industry, of billboards and posters and everything in between? You know, the events and experiential and all sorts of stuff. What's your take on the current state of affairs for the market?
I don't really care anymore.
You're out. You're like, I'm full in on water and getting rid of plastic.
Yeah, it's not my problem. I mean, there's always been rubbish, right? So, you know, there was always big bag agencies that just churned out stuff. I mean, I think that it's like most things in most businesses. Now you've got so many people involved.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I come from a time when, I mean, I didn't meet clients. You know, when I started in the business, creative people didn't meet clients. I mean, a big meeting was 4 people.
With the account person leading everything.
You had the creative director, account director, and 1 or 2 clients, and they sold the work, and that was the reason why, and that was it. I mean, you know, and if you were in a good agency, what you call a creative agency, the work didn't come back because the client had gone to that agency for the style of what you did. So. You know, as long as you were doing your best work, you always expected it to go through, you know, but there are too many people involved now. But I don't think in everything, you know, it's
Ian,
that whole...
Out of interest, is there... Sorry, go on. Is there in Spain, how do you put this, a sort of billboard culture? Or, you know, do they have billboards or posters like we know them here? No. So is it more digital led, or is it different style of poster over in Spain? What's the? Do they?
I mean, the Spanish cities tend to be sort of lots of ring roads. You might get some big billboards on when you first get to the city. I know when I go to Granada, there's quite a few. Right. When you get to the ring road and sort of like get into the West Way, you know, so you get that same sort of vista. But then in the cities,
right,
I guess it would be sort of bus shelters and things, bus stops that I've
the
seen
street
a bit.
furniture.
That's how I think they do it, really.
We are just about to jump into your very first billboard, but as you said, you don't care anymore. What was actually the last billboard that you worked on? Do you remember the last one you did? Good question. It's not a normal question. I know it's not on our script, but I just it's quite interesting just from a timing perspective to.
I can't really. I guess it would have been in the US. I think the last billboard
in LA. There's a massive billboard culture in LA, and I think that there's the big difference in the stuff that I see and the stuff that I've. Roadside stuff is massive in the US.
Yeah, versus, that was the first time because I remember that was a confusion when I went there. They called it outdoor, which we called it posters, and our posters can go from in-store posters. They can go from various sizes right up to 48 sheets and supersize, and when they called outdoor. And I remember I did first one I did, I think, was on Nissan, or Nissan, as they used to call it. Yeah. And I did this layout, and I was quite pleased with it. And it got rejected. And it came around, and it was like they wanted the logo, 3-4 times bigger than I'd done it. And I had a huge argument with this guy, and came around. Anyway, they were all a bit sort of taken aback, the accounts team, by my forthright views that I'd given them and the language that I'd used. And anyway, I got this. There was a guy I got on with, who was an ex-Doyle Dane guy called Bob Cooperman, who was a creative guy, who was then CEO, and he had been an art director. Anyway, he came around and we sat down and had a chat. And he said, look, outdoor in America is different than the UK in this, 48 sheets are normally quite close up to you,
right?
Whereas outdoor in Los Angeles, this poster could be 500 yards away from you. It's on the other side of a freeway, or so it's 4 or 5 times the distance. So it was different. You had to look at it different, because they were a hell of a long way away.
That's
from
a really it's a good point. We talk sometimes with someone called Vicky Ross. Vicky does this thing called Copy Safari. It's a great idea where you go out into the real world and you look at the screen or the site where your work's going to be. And I remember Dave Dye always used to talk about this as well, as go and look at, if you can, the size of the thing. Because then you start thinking, the logo needs to be bigger. The worst thing is if you run it and then you're going, oh my God, it's tiny. And I think there's a balance in there, you've got to get right. But it's certainly...
A Copy Safari in America would be a 3-week road trip.
But do you remember that? I mean, and I've noticed that in London, that when I used to get the bus down the Euston Road, because I lived in Islington, the 48 sheets were all the way along the Euston Road. Right? Yeah. And I guess all the buildings have changed. And as the modern buildings have gone up, the 48 sheets have disappeared.
Yeah, I saw a stat the other day. I think it's about a third of 48s have gone from where they were 25 years ago because of digitization and the change of the...
they were right, behind, from St. Pancras, sort of all the way down the road. They were right along the side, because I guess stuff was empty holes behind them. It was like that for years. Yeah. So you saw your work was, 48s were really dramatic. It was the best place. Everybody wanted to do a 48 sheet because you got famous, because they were right in your face, when you did a good one.
So let's go to your first billboard then. Do you remember what it was, Ian?
The first billboard I did.
Yeah, the very first.
One I got. Did you say it was Scirocco, Ian?
Well, no, that was a Doyle Dane. The first thing I can sort of remember in print was the Scirocco campaign. Yeah, that was in the Sunday Times, the Observer, things like that. What? And that was the one that had an impact on me, where I thought I was pleased with what we'd done. Although we hadn't originated it. Right. It was Pete Harold and Barbara Noakes, I think, did the first.
Yeah, we tried to get Barbara on the show, but she can't. Come on. Yeah. No, not yet. Anyway, but okay, that's interesting, because what we're going to do now, we're going to jump into the work, the main body of the work. And of course, there's only one place to start, and which is your Araldite billboard, which regularly features on the top billboards of all time of other people's lists, and it's on ours too. I'm sure you're aware we've talked about it, but a lot of people listening to the show know this as well. We've had over 100 guests in the past 6 years of being broadcasters, and we asked every one of our guests to say, what their favourite billboard was. So this is a pretty erudite, passionate, discerning audience. It's not just a bunch of journalists. It's real people who write the ads, and your work came out top by a mile. Okay, let's talk about Araldite now. So the agency was FCO, or to give it its full name, French Cruttendon Osborne. Tell us a bit about that, Ian, will you? It's just an amazing moment.
Well, I guess the start of it and the real story was I was only 26 when I was made creative director.
Right.
Which sent shockwaves through the creative side of the business, really, in London.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't done enough things. So I was a good 10 years younger than anybody else.
Right.
10, 15 years. So, than Abbott and Hegarty and, Versace, they were like in the sixth form, you know what I mean? So I was in the first year. And that was the hard thing, because I hadn't done the normal path. So to be creative director of a creative agency, albeit small, you had to have been a Collett's or CDP or BNP, right. And you had to have had, things in the book or won a D&AD pencil, you know, to be accepted as creative director of one of those agencies. And I ended up, I was at FCO for about 18 months and was then made creative director.
Right.
By Richard French, who was the French of French Gold Abbott.
Right, okay.
Which started again.
He's the top man.
And that was interesting, because all the guys that I knew of my age, they wouldn't talk to me.
Oh, really?
Well, not wouldn't talk to me, but it's like becoming player manager, right? I mean, it becomes very awkward. Yeah. So I mean, there were only about 4 teams, and I think 2 of those left immediately. It's like, we're not going to take orders off this guy. I mean, who is he, and all that sort of thing. And then sort of the creative directors. So I didn't know any of them. I mean, I'd been for interviews with them, so I didn't know any of them to have lunch with or to talk to or whatever. So it was a bit of a lonely period, really, for for me. So what I did was I spent sort of most of my time in the agency. It was like, I'm not going to go down the pub. I'm not going to, this isn't a great place to be. So it was, I better work. And I think it was one of the first things I did there was, and I can remember doing it, was sitting down with Richard and saying, where's the next awards going to come from in the agency? Where's the next great work going to come from in the list of accounts that we had? And we had bits of Barclays Bank and Renault Trucks and, stuff that was really not that inspiring.
Yeah.
And one of the things that one of the accounts they had was Araldite.
Yeah.
And everybody had heard of it because it was the type of thing you got in the Chandlers, right? But it was 2 tubes. So it was, I think people were using Bostik, whatever the other brands were. And they used to run. It was an account of it spent about £100,000, I think. When a big account to us to FCO was at like £1 million.
Right.
So it wasn't a big account, and they used to do 6-inch doubles and things like Exchange and Mart. And
what's a 6-inch double? That's a small press ad, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay, just for our listeners.
Sorry. Yeah. It's a small press ad.
Yeah.
Black and white. And it was practical woodworking. I mean, all the magazines, I don't even know if Exchange and Mart, practical woodwork. They were in 1,000 titles with all these small ads.
Got it.
And I was in his office one day and said, look, this account, that's boring. This is what, they're not going to change. Or you knew that they were never likelihoods. And we looked at Araldite, and I said, and looked at all the work, found all these little ads all over the place.
Right.
And they were of handles that so on one page,
You're fucking kidding me.
The little ad, there was a teapot with a handle broken, and then when you turn the page, it was stuck.
Okay.
They were quite clever.
Okay, there's a little bit of creativity in there, right?
Yeah. So they're trying their best.
I had no idea.
It wasn't being seen by, certainly not being seen by creative people, or in Exchange and Martin practical woodworking, and and I said to Richard, look, we've got to be able to do something with this, because I'd read about it, and it was the nose of Concord was made with Araldite and epoxy resin, and the blocks of the Sydney Opera House was stuck together with it. These amazing, huge things, and here we were doing these little ads. And I said, look, you've got to be able to do something with this. And he said to me, like what? Like I said, I don't know, put it on posters, stick something on a poster.
Yeah.
And it's that sort of, bingo moment where you think, oh, hang on.
Right.
And it was like, I wonder if we could stick something to a poster, and it's like a car. And it was like, wow, I think we're onto something. So it was at that stage when, and then Richard got up, the account man who worked on Araldite. And Richard said to me, he said, look, I can sell this. And he got the account man up who worked on Araldite. And this guy came in, and Richard said, look, fantastic idea. We're going to do this thing. Look at it. And showed him the idea. And this guy said, over my dead body.
Oh, my God.
Who? That's the client said that?
No. Our account man in the agency.
The account man.
Oh, great. Thanks, guys.
So he was fired, right? So it's like, okay, if that's what you think, that's
over my dead body. That can be arranged, sir.
That's it. So, and in those days, in an agency, we had the media was on the same floor as the creative people. We were all together. So I then sort of went out and saw this media guy, and said, look, is this possible? Can we do something like that? Because I'd seen it in America, but nothing. And he said, well, I'll go away and make some phone calls. And it was sort of, then we realized we needed to, if we were going to do it, it had to be over a piece of land that was safe. So I'm getting ahead of him. So Richard goes, he sells this to the client, and can they do it? So will Araldite actually do it? And they said, well, yeah, we can stick a car, it'll do it, but you can't stick it to the plywood on a poster, because it's a thing called the peel factor. So you'll stick it to the plywood, but this car will peel the wood off,
Right.
So we had to make a frame behind the poster.
Yes.
And it was actually hung along the top. So it was just hung by it's only about an inch of glue connecting it to the metal right along the top edge of the roof.
Right.
And
can I go back one beat? So did you draw it? So, you go, right, let's stick a car on a poster, and then you get the line from the little press ads. Really, really lovely story there. Did you then draw like a sort of, because you're not just drawing a poster, you're drawing a sort of three-dimensional, photo of what it would look.
I drew it. I mean, you only had your pens and you got your magic markers out and drew it. There wasn't.
Exactly. You didn't. And so then the client saw this and went, sort of bought it and went, yeah, but can you? That classic, can you do it?
Oh, see, that goes back to I didn't go. I couldn't.
No, we're allowed.
Give the client's name. I didn't see the client. Richard went to see the client,
and
sold it. And then they had to work out the how the bond was going to be, how.
And did you know the actual site that you're going to use, or did you sort of hope and pray that you're going to get one, or do you know what I mean?
What we did was, the media guy who worked on it was a guy called David Cecil, and he took me out in his car. We went round. All the sites that had land in front of it. So we knew it had to be a site that had I think it was Mauro Farrell, that had a corner site where they'd have a bit of grass and a railing, and then so it was set back off payment because it was a proper car, right? So I mean, the thing was sticking out by 7-8 feet.
Is it a Ford Cortina? Is that right?
It was a Ford Cortina.
Sorry,
I didn't have the engine in, but
okay. Another quick question: was the Cortina cut in half, or is it stuck? I'm just looking at it.
It's a full car.
Oh no, it's a full car.
Yeah,
whole car. For all the wheels, everything, and it's stuck along the top back edge of the roof. It's.
So wait a minute. So you do that. You go around. You find the site. Then who do you get to? How do you put it together? How do you make such a thing?
So we found the site, and then we found Chiswick Flyover. Which didn't have Sainsbury's at that time. That whole sort of. I wish I'd had shares in Morro Frog, because that whole area was down to that poster, right? That whole sort of development of posters and things, because they were just 48 sheets.
Yeah, we
had to say, okay, that's where we want to do it, and then basically we had to keep it quiet. We never had a poster of it on the wall in the agency. We kept it really quiet. We thought this is going to have a big impact. You can't have photographers' agents coming in and seeing it on your wall, because they were the ones who gossiped everywhere and let you know who'd been fired and all that sort of thing. Was that sort of reps coming in and out. So we kept it quiet, and the client and the poster people had to work out between them how to do it, really. We had nothing to do with that. So it sort of went from a piece of paper to like a technical drawing.
Yeah.
Of guys with girders and plans for Morro Farrell and the client. And the Araldite guys were out in Duxford, I think, out that way. And they were sort of guys in brown coats, who used to work in Chandler's, who sort of mixed glue. It was like a potting shed.
Don't you think it's an amazing job we do, or you do?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so this is great. So you're going along. Did you have a conversation, sort of shit, I know that happens. Did someone say, what colour should the car be? What sort of car? How did you choose a Cortina? Any of that?
No. I mean, that's the thing about people didn't get involved. No, I don't know. I can't remember.
No. So I'm just interested.
It was yellow because the pack was yellow. Right?
Yeah. And then also, that made sense can I just go back also to the line? So it's the way you've described. Just never would have thought of that. I suppose that's where it started. So did you end up going, well, I suppose we should just say it also sticks hand, because you could have said like no other glue in the world, all those kind of like lines which are saying what you're saying.
It was all done. It was created in a second, really. I mean, it took 6-8 months to get done, to get completed, but the origination of it was.
When you were so that was the idea and the line straight away, and there wasn't a second, there wasn't a third option. It was just that was it.
It was
when you were doing it, without sounding like wanky, but did you think, oh yeah, this is pretty big? But at the time, like it's now. Hold on, wait, it's 82.
42 years later.
So 42 years later, and it's still revered. And I mean, did you feel at the time it would, were you creating this mega bit of advertising, or did you think, oh, it's quite nice,
I was just trying to save my own skin, really. I mean, I was Billy No Mates. I mean, the guys who I were playing with wouldn't talk to me, and the sixth formers wouldn't talk to me. I mean, I was sort of in between. So I knew it was good. And I thought, right, you bastards, we get this one right, I'll be all right.
And so let's talk about that then. So afterwards, did you obviously it did win awards. It did do
everything.
Yeah, it won everything. After that, did those peers who wouldn't talk to you start going, this guy's got something? Oh, now it's jealousy.
It didn't change. Well, you had John on doing the awards. It's the difference between John and I, isn't it? Really, the sort of Scouser and John. I mean, I was never in that group.
Yeah,
I hadn't been
because you hadn't trodden the path.
Yeah, I leapfrogged 10 years. It was like I hadn't done that whole thing, and it was.
Did it? Sorry, just going back to the awards. So, I mean, it's staggering. I'm very, very pleased it did win all the awards, because it it's rightly so, because sometimes you get work which is a bit ahead of its time and people don't know what to do with it. But, you must have been absolutely chuffed to win, Black Pencil.
Everything. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
It's just, and then I have to ask, because I know our listeners will be interested. I think the following year there was an additional execution where there's another car on top.
I've missed something out.
Go on. No, keep going, Ian. Go on. Sorry.
But people don't realise it wasn't just one poster.
Right.
So we weren't irresponsible. So we said, okay, we're going to blow this £100,000 budget, which is why the accountant disagreed and had to go. We're going to blow it in one go. So instead of doing every week in 50, 100 magazines, we're going to blow it in a month.
Right.
And but it wasn't one poster. It was in London, but it travelled. So there was one in London, there was one in Manchester, and there was one in Scotland. I think.
I didn't know that.
So we travelled it, and I don't have the figures, but we did have the press cuttings, and it got like £1 million worth of coverage.
Yeah, easily.
It was on TV. It even got in Russian paper.
Yeah,
Izvestia, I think it was, and it got in that. And they said, look at the lengths that Western manufacturers have to go to sell cars. So they didn't understand.
I mean, it's
the logo.
Because the second iteration goes, the tension mounts, and then it says
suspense continues. How do we pull
it off? So that involves some more. I've spotted other names, creatives on that.
So that was Rob and Ray Barrett, I think.
Right. And that happened. Did that happen? How soon after did the sort of second iteration happen after the first? Was it?
That would have been the next year.
Okay, yeah, that's right, because I think we saw it.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's quite clever, the second one, but the first one is still, it's staggering. I mean, yeah, we've talked about it so many times, and I suppose what we were interested about on our 100 greatest posters is, you'd think. We were talking about The Economist comes up a lot. Loads of Specsavers. There's loads of campaigns, BA, and yet this.
Yeah, but I think with this one, yes, there had been special builds before this. Yes, true. There were. But this is it's almost like one of those moments where it's an industry switch, and while
I can't remember many special. I mean, I know that. Afterwards, all of a sudden, because the poster company, and I think it's because Morofal realised they could make money out of it. That became an offering. So the guys who were selling media could suddenly go into the agencies and go, we can do this, we can do that, we can do the other thing. But I can't remember many things that
certainly not on this scale. But what I was going to say is that when you do something like this, and it is a kind of what would now be called a thunderclap in the social sphere, is this changed the industry for the next 10, 20 years, as other agencies looked and went, wow, we could do something. The poster site is not just for posters anymore. A poster site can be a piece of content for press. It can be a press release. It can be an icon. It can be something that people go and revere and witness and not just glance at. And I think this one is, I think one of the reasons that the alumni who have been on our show, illustrious alumni, I have to say, that lots of people who have been in the industry a long time revere this poster so much, is because it did change their opinion of what a humble poster could be. And I think that's when you get a campaign or an idea or a single poster site or 3 posters that change perceptions of the entire advertising industry, then it creates that it does create that thunderclap, and it makes other people go, well, that's inspired me, I'm going to do something else. And that's one of the things that comes up for us, right, is that people come on the show and go, that's the thing that inspired me to get into this industry.
Yeah.
What was the sorry, just a final question. So, I mean, what happened? So it goes up, it gets a load of sort of publicity and awards, and then out of interest, what happened after that with Araldite? Did they just go back to the little press ads, or was there a desire for, doing more outrageous stuff? Did they ask you?
I can't, honestly, I can't remember. I can't remember after the second one. I mean, it was the 80s, so a lot of it's lost in the mist of time. I can't remember.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. But,
I don't know what happened.
But
No.
I mean, having achieved, a seminal moment at 26 years old, as you said, as a creative director, is fantastic. Shall we move on to Nike? I think it's great to hear all of that story, and we've talked about this poster so much in the past. It's great to hear it from in your words. So thank you for that. But let's move on to another massive account.
Yeah, Nike. So, Ian, I suppose this will be the sort of second part of the show, really. We'll see how we do for time. But I don't know if our listeners are aware, but you were charged with actually launching the brand in the UK, which is it's easy to say now, like Nike's been here forever, right? And the other weekend, the marathon is there, and Nike's just banging out the posters and that. But they had to start somewhere, right? So, I mean, my era was Simon's Palmer. Where they did all the Nike work. So I was thinking, they were the guys. And then they're not, are they? Because you...
we set the whole
You
tone.
set the whole thing up. So could you just tell us a little bit about, the time and how it happened? And that would be lovely to hear.
So you've got to remember, I mean, running didn't exist. Okay? Nobody ran. This is pre-personal marathon. This is, year before that or 2 years before that. And guys wore, if you wore anything, you wore football trainers, the Converse canvas basketball shoe, right?
Right.
You remember that? The black and white one?
Yes.
So it was the canvas one, or you wore Adidas football trainers or Gola or Dunlop Green Flash.
Remember Gola, classic, yeah.
No running shoes at all. In fact, running shoes had spikes.
So there was no real running, jogging culture, really? No. Okay.
Not in the UK. And running was sort of, it was the sort of dickhead at school, wasn't it, who sort of went running. It was Tom. It was loneliness of the long distance running.
Yeah.
This was not hunky guy. This was not a star thing to do. This was pretty boring, really. And it was like, if you saw somebody and said, "I'm a runner, do you want to have lunch?" It was like, "No, you're all right." It wasn't. You weren't attracted to it. So when we got the business, we didn't know how to pronounce it. Nike. I mean, we had no idea. We'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
And then we got this piece of business, and
this was at FCO still, yeah.
This is FCO, yeah.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
And that was on the back of Araldite and White Horse. I mean, FCO had a good reputation creatively.
The White Horse Scotch.
Yeah,
brilliant campaign. Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean,
amazing.
FCO was such a small place to have two posters in the top 10.
Yeah. No, that's been talked about a lot on our show.
It was in the DNA of the. I mean, the White Horse poster was why I went to FCO.
Right.
It was like we wanted to win awards, so it was like trying to pick somewhere that would get that for you.
Yeah.
What was I saying?
We were talking about Nike and arriving.
Yeah, so it didn't exist.
No.
And that's right. So when we got the account, we met this girl. I can't remember what her name was, who was something in the marketing department, and she gave us a brief on this running shoes, and nobody really wanted to. Wasn't terribly exciting, really. I mean, and especially the image of running was terrible. So the first thing we did was have a look, read the brief, and it was the story was the big breakthrough was the waffle sole that Phil Knight had made in his wife's waffle maker. So he put on he used to import Asics, I think, the brand into the States, and he glued the sole onto the bottom of it. So there's all that story of the waffle iron, and then some of the uppers of the shoe the mesh had been out of spaceman suits from NASA. So it was all that sort of, the laces were made by some. They were all it was all lots of like what we thought was good information.
Right.
So we started writing double-page spreads.
Yeah.
Sort of in like Sainsbury's ads, like this great David Habitat. So, and Volvo, so that was, so it was space age polymer and the waffle iron. And you can imagine, you can see all the sort of,
great.
The headlines and things. So we wrote, 15 or 20 of these things and sent them off. The client they didn't have a client actually in London. So we sent them off to America. So they go off to America and then they'd come back about sort of a month, 6 weeks later with a sort of reject stamp on it,
Yeah.
And we thought, wonder why, and a little note and stuff and blah, blah, blah. So we do them again. And, the ads would started to get worse and worse. By the time you're on your sort of 40th double-page spread about a shoe, it's starting to get a bit tired,
Yeah.
So, and they keep on getting rejected. And it wasn't a very big account, so we weren't spending that much time on it. They were paying our monthly fee. So, we sent ads over to America and they were coming back rejected. And that's why we were getting paid, Right. So we kept on doing it. Anyway, I was in my office one day, and the phone rang, and it was Richard French's secretary. And she said to me, Ian, quickly, you've got to come to Richard's office now.
Right.
And I said, what's the problem? She said, there's a Nike client is here.
Right.
And I said, okay. And I said, who is it? She said, I don't know his name. But she said on his business card, it says Rolling Thunder. So you're thinking, what the fuck is? So anyway,
hey, Mr.
So I
Thunder.
go down to Richard's office, and we had lovely offices overlooking at the top of Marylebone, overlooking the park. Anyway, nice summer's day, and I'm in this office, and I said, who's this guy? And he said, I've no idea. Just come and knocked on the door, and he's asked to see you and I.
Right.
So this is a running client, right?
Right.
So you expect somebody to look like sort of Hegarty, sort of thin, urbane, he's a runner, right? He's got to be fit. I mean, he's got to be in that thing, it's that fine. And bang, the door opens, and there's this huge guy, right? Big sort of hair, beard, Hawaiian shirt,
right.
cut off jean shorts, Nike basketball boots with no laces,
right.
And a carrier bag, a green carrier bag, Marks and Spencer's carrier bag. He opens the door and he goes, hey, it says, hi, how you guys doing? He goes, Rob Strasser. And he shakes our hands and sits down.
Right.
Before he sits down, now this is not a word of a lie, in this bag, he has a bottle of gin, a bottle of whiskey, and a bottle of vodka. Puts them on the table. He says, okay, let's drink.
Oh, my gosh.
And the doors are a balcony are open overlooking the park. So Richard said to Elaine, can you go and get us some glasses and
some ice?
Anyway, so we drink with this guy.
Right.
Very booming sort of voice. He's this guy's the sort of Jurgen Klopp of clients. A lot of presence, loud voice, very American thing. And so we sit and we drink with him, and we drink and talk for a couple of hours, I guess.
Right.
I think it might have been Friday afternoon.
Right.
And in the end, he smashes this glass down, and he says, "God damn it!" He says, "You are good guys." He says, "Why are you doing this shit for me?"
Is this called a client meeting?
We were sort of taken back, and I said, "Oh shit." He said, "Yeah." He said, "These ads you're sending over." He said, "God damn." He said, "They're shit." And I said, "Oh, He said, "Yeah." And I said, well, the brief, and he smashed it. So he says, "Don't ever say that word to me again." Brief. He says, "Fuck the brief." He said, I don't want to hear that stuff. He says, "It's boring." So you go, okay, this is unusual. I mean, fuck the brief. This is out of a client's mouth. This is
drinking gin out of a plastic bag. Yeah.
And he says, look, he said, running shoes. He says, why are you doing all this boring stuff? He says, it's exciting, It's
right.
Like, oh. He says, okay. And I said, look, Rob, it's fine. Okay. He said, no. He said, don't do any more of this boring shit.
Right. And I
said, okay. And we can't mention the word brief, right? So I said to him, okay. I said, what do you want me to do? He said, God damn it, Potter. He said, do some shit you like. And I said, right. He said, do shit you like. That's all. Do shit you like.
Right.
And it was
wow.
It was very clever because he put all the emphasis back onto us, right? So
right.
It was this little account, which really was very small. We started working on it all the time, or I did.
Because he made it your passion project. He basically told you, go do stuff you like. It's very smart, isn't it?
And this guy was a lawyer, right? He'd gone to like Stanford and stuff. I mean, he looked like nothing, but I mean, he was really intelligent guy. There are books on him and programs on him. He's very famous as part of the Nike culture.
Yeah.
And he was a founder. He was worth a lot of dough.
Yeah.
And so he put the emphasis all on us to do the work, and he said, you do stuff you like, and I'll buy it. And he said, show me some good stuff. So I remember coming out, and the guys were outside, and they said, because they could hear all this sort of shouting and banging, and I mean, it was obviously outside, muffled. It must have been.
They probably thought you'd get fired.
Yeah, and we thought this is it. We're either going to get fired. We thought we were going to get fired because it just wasn't working. So he came out, and the guy said to me, what did he say? And he said, do some shit you like. And of course, for the guys who hadn't been in the room, that just meant nothing.
Yeah.
So because they hadn't had this sort of experience. So I came out and thought, right, okay. So that whole copy thing, the Abbott way of doing it, that was a genre, that copy on the left and a picture on the left and copy on the right, that's out the window. So how do you do stuff? And he said, it's got to be, he said, I don't care what you do, but make it cool.
Right.
And the other thing was, we didn't use the word cool in the UK then. It was sort of naff, So anyway, he said, make it cool. So what you realize is one of the things, you can never write cool. As soon as you write cool, you're not.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as you put that into words, you're in trouble. So I realized that it was photographic. That was how it was going to work. That was what you could project.
Right.
And everybody else in sport then, Adidas were it was just pictures of stars with signatures underneath them and stuff. I mean, nobody did it. Mm. So I did the scribbles of just black and white scribbles of little runners in stuff. And I thought, well, and there's no shoe, no shoes, and the account man, people coming in saying, what you're doing, and he said, well, do some shit I like. I mean, I'm not seeing him again with stuff that you want to do, because I'm not want to do stuff that he wanted. So.
But they're beautiful. I mean, you were of Max Forsyth, was that correct for this campaign?
I did, yeah.
And
I think it was Ken Griffiths did the first. The Camden lock. I think
the ones we've got, Ian. Just moving on a bit. We've got Camden. Just people just running around.
And no shoes. And so I presented. So I present him these. He comes back in, presents him this stuff, and he goes, "Great." He says, "That's it." He said, "I love it. There's only one thing." He says, "The logo's too big." And he said, it was on the photograph. He said, "Take the goddamn logo off the photograph." He said, "You're fucking up the photograph."
Right. That's a dream, right?
I said, "Okay," and make it smaller. So this is like, wow, this is. And somebody in the room said, well, what if they cut the picture out? Because it was like a white frame. Yeah. And he said, if they cut the picture out, the logo won't be on it. And he said, yeah, but they'll always remember whose logo they cut off.
Yeah.
And it was like he had an answer for everything, you know.
The images, they look, excuse me, they're reverential, aren't they? They're like a framed image from an exhibition.
That's what he said, and he said we're going to do this like art. So they were posted.
Do you know the one I particularly like, Ian? Is they're beautiful shots. I love it, and at the time it must have been really out there. But the one of them was a kid, and there's a painting on the wall of a goal, and it just says England 10, Italy 0.
Well, that's
funny.
Once we'd done sort of running or
this was after that, right?
So once that was working out, going to running, and then it was like Running World. I think there was only one magazine, Running World. It was like A5 or something when they didn't print colour. And it was it was right at the beginning of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then after that, they said, okay, we're bringing out a football boot.
Okay.
Now they had. And they didn't put money into teams, so I think they had Aston Villa who were that was the second year I think they had Botham.
We've got that image
that's
up.
That's how we did the Ian Botham thing.
Yeah, because sorry, just to jump in and move on a bit because of time. So after this, because we then look at there seems to be a sort of theme, and again I don't know if you had done it wittingly. But there's a sort of series of testimonials from things like the Roadrunner, John McEnroe, Ian Botham and Vivian Richards, who are sort of all, holding the boot or shoe in a sort of reverential fashion. Was that a move on from you or from them? Because that's definitely different to these very sort of reportage type shots, aren't they? Because we've got to get to the Vivian Richards story.
Yeah, well, the Viv Richards one.
Yeah, you said there's a good story behind that one.
Yeah,
right?
the Viv Richards one was amazing.
Yeah, go on.
So we went. So as I say, we used to work on Nike all the time. So we'd work on Renault, or you work on Barclays Bank, and I was working with a guy called Chris Herring at the time, and you'd sort of work on that, and then you would also do Nike all the time. That's where he was clever. We were constantly working on it. Right. And Frenchie used to say, for Christ's sake, you got to work on other things other than this. We don't make any money out of this bloody client. So. And then Rob Strasser, after this first visit, he just used to come into the agency when he was in London because he was all over Europe and back to the US. So he'd just come in, and he wouldn't come into the reception. He'd just walk in, right? So he walks in one day, and I'm sitting there, and he goes, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" I said, I'm doing good, Rob. Good. What are you doing? And on my wall, we used to stick all the layouts up on the wall. That's with mascots all on the wall. So he sits down. I had a couch in the office, and he sits down and he looks at the wall and he goes, "God damn!" He says, "That's great. I love it." Also available to mortals, but it was just an outline drawing with the guy holding the shoe, and also available to mortals. It didn't have anything else on it, just black and white line drawing. Also available to mortals. He said, "God damn!" He says, "It's fucking great. Let's do it." And I said, "Yeah, okay, Rob." He said, I love it. Let's do it. Who is it? Let's do it." I said, "Well, the only problem is, Rob, it's Viv Richards." Viv Richards said, "Great, get him. Let's sign him up. We'll do it." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Who is he?" I said, "Well, he's a cricketer. He's a West Indian, and he's like hot at the time, as He said, "Great, let's do it." I said, "But Rob, you don't make a cricket tune," which is why I haven't shown it, because you don't make a cricket tune. Oh, hang on.
That's going to be Viv Richards now.
Yeah. Well, it's Rob calling to say you're not talking about
Viv Richards again.
Sorry. Yeah.
Go on, mate. Go on. Keep going.
So. He says, "You don't make a cricket tune."
Right.
And he said, "Well, what's cricket like?" And I said, like baseball. And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Well," he said, "Not really." He said, "Well, what's the shoe like?" He said, "Do they have cleats?" And he said, "Well, no, you have to go out and get him a..." Anyway, he said, "Oh, God damn." He said, "We've got to run it." He said, and he picked up, sorry, hang on.
It's all right.
It's my wife.
That's all right.
So he says, "It can't be that hard to make one." So he rings up, and this is pre-mobile phones and anything, right? So he's in my office in the afternoon, and he makes a phone call. They had a factory in on the East Coast near Boston, above Boston.
Right.
So he rings them, and he rings the guy, and he says to him, "Hi, so-and-so, it's Rob." He said, "I've got a thing for you." He said, "I want you to make me some cricket shoes." And they were like, "Okay." And he said, "We've got this white shoe that's so-and-so." And it was like, change the sole and do whatever. And they brought over 600 pairs of cricket shoes to put in London stores to run the poster.
So you wrote an advert to change the way they make trainers or shoes.
And it was like, they didn't have one. So they made the shoe. I mean, I don't think it was ever a success, but he could see the value in the work.
In being in popular culture, because cricket was big here. So yes.
That's amazing.
And also the fact that Richards was West Indian. You know, Nike appealed a lot to that community. So, the high top basketball trainers and all that sort of thing. I mean, that was very fashionable.
Yeah.
And that when they first came over, the high tops, they were clever. They brought them over in red and green and yellow.
Right.
Which was like Rastafarian colours. So they were big into selling them at Brixton and stuff, to get it, because they were the big leaders of things. So,
mate, it's amazing. I mean, just those 2 or 3 stories alone are fascinating.
You should read if you read up about Rob Strasser. I mean, he's no longer with us, unfortunately, because he was he burnt the candle at all ends and stuff.
Let's we're gonna. Sorry, Ian, 'cause I knew this would happen because you're such a great talker. We're gonna finish. We're gonna finish. We're gonna hear about your favourite Billboard in a second, but just want to quickly touch upon another brilliant poster you did later on for a firearms amnesty, which says help stop the spread of illegal shotguns. And this is a shocking image of a man's chest. How tell us about that just briefly and how you put it together, because I remember seeing this as a kid thinking it was amazing.
This was after the Falklands War, right?
Okay.
And what happens after any sort of major conflict is that the squaddies, right? So they're over in the Falklands and they beat the old RGs, and then the squaddies pick up the firearms that are laying around, and before they get shipped home, they stick them in the bottom of a duffel bag, their bag, before they get on a Hercules transport or whatever in a ship, and they're landing back in Portsmouth.
Right.
So there's a huge influx the next year after the Falklands, a huge influx of firearms. And we got appointed by we had the CEO, and they were doing this firearms amnesty. And we went down to the Black Museum that they have met this. I was all meeting guys in white coats who were sort of experts, and he told us all about guns and the damage that they did, and he showed us the photographs. I mean, of these things, and it was
God, that's tough.
We did 3 of them, and that was one that got in.
And was it so? So this is a real image you're showing us.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought that had been.
No.
That's really shocking.
Oh.
That's really.
Yeah.
I think that's why it was so visceral. I remember seeing it, thinking, "Fucking hell, it just stops you so quickly."
Yeah, no, it was a corpse, So we had to get clearance from whoever to get it done. But they got we got about 350,000 guns handed in.
Oh, that's amazing.
But things like Second World War Lewis machine guns and things. I mean, hand grenades.
Jesus.
I mean, that's the epitome of a powerful poster. If you talk to our sponsors at Bauer Media.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's very effective. Ian, it's been a pleasure. We're going to finish now on your favourite poster. So we had a chat, didn't we, briefly, and we had this VW ad, and then we couldn't find it, so we found some others. And then I went on LinkedIn, and then very thankfully, Tim Riley found it. Yeah, I saw that. Legend. He said it's 1975. I then found my 75 book, shot it. So we've got it here as our next. You know what practice makes, and it's a shot of a VW. So this is one of your favourites, right?
It is, and because it used to hang in Dawson Yeoman's office at DDB when he was creative director.
Oh yeah,
and it was intimidating as hell to go into, and you know, this is when I started out, to go in and present your ideas of 48 sheets or whatever with that hanging above.
And that's he did it. He did it.
Yeah, was pretty off-putting.
Yeah, well, or inspiring.
It was terrifying.
You're terrifying.
Yeah. It was like, because all you were trying to do was survive Friday to Friday to get the next paycheck, right? Yeah. So, when he'd sort of say, "Are you ready?" and you'd go in and you'd say, "Yeah, we're ready to come and show you the work," and then you'd get in there and think, "Oh."
I remember just briefly, we used to work under John Pallant at Saatchi & Saatchi, and John did a similar thing, not quite the same, but he had 5 silver pencils on his desk, and you had to pass your work over the top of them, which was kind of like a force field of rejection always.
Yeah, but, it's hard, and he'd sort of say, "Are you ready?" And you'd go, "Yeah," and he'd say, "Are you sure you're ready?"
Oh no,
that was the same as we moved all of the Cannes Lion trophies from the front of reception into the boardroom, so that when clients were in the boardroom, they'd see them all there rather than when they're waiting in the.
It's good. And do you want to talk briefly about the other two? You got. Go on. Sorry.
Okay. I guess out of those hundreds of ones that I like, Porky and Best.
Yeah,
the wall sausage thing. I remember that, as I say, down the Euston Road. I mean, boy, it stood out like dog sports. Fantastic. And I think to remember this is for a sausage, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something glamorous. It isn't. It doesn't do anything like a glue or a shoe. I mean, it's a sausage. Yeah. And I mean, to take a picture of the pink thing that you get, to make it look that tasty and that big, and Porky and Best, I thought it was fantastic. I've always loved that one.
And then the last one you've got is Scotch and Ginger.
Yeah, Scotch and Ginger was, again, that was sort of the reason why I wanted to go to FCO in the first place, was they'd done that campaign.
Yeah.
And what you've got to remember about this was that Scotch was getting hammered by vodka, right? So, I mean, the Smirnoff campaign and that sort of stuff. I mean, nobody was drinking whiskey. And this is the whole thing of being cool, right? I mean, vodka was what everybody drank. I mean, your granddad Scotch, right?
Yeah.
It being a hard drink, so it's harder to like. And I think to produce work like that, because it needed to be cool without saying anything, because the whole genre just had gone. And I thought this campaign was fantastic.
It's incredibly brave. I mean, do you know what? It's like the classic no logo debate. There's no logo. Ian, God, I know we've had to rush it a bit at the end there, but thank you so much. I mean, it's been amazing. I know this show is about, sometimes we get behind the billboards and sometimes we really get behind them, but today has been magnificent. You've given us...
it's been great to hear about your career and everything that you've done. I mean, I think,
inspiring.
Well, it's pretty odd, you see. So, I mean, I was never really accepted. I mean, so it was like...
Well, I tell you what, you're accepted here, mate. And I think that, the work that we've looked through today, especially Araldite, when you think that is the top poster by, and some of the people that you were mentioning there that you felt didn't accept you have mentioned that as their top poster. So,
no, I know they like the poster. It's just me they have a problem with.
Well, even though you're a Liverpool fan,
I never fitted into that slot, and it was because I didn't do this 10 years of, I didn't go to CDP, I didn't go to, and you're all supposed to sort of grow up together, and then you're allowed to become creative.
It was things.
You have forged your own path, and what a fabulous path it has been.
And more power to you for your plastic stuff. If you are over, when you are over, drop us a note. I know we were going to try and record, we couldn't, but I'd love to have a cup of tea or a pint with you when you come over. It'd be lovely to see.
I'll have a bottle of Retsina. I'll have a Greek.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Ian, thanks, Ian.
Thank you so much, mate. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yo.
That was great, wasn't it?
Yeah. God, I mean, I feel really bad. We could have gone on a bit. I mean,
there's probably a 2-parter, probably a whole part on Araldite and a whole part on Nike,
and then the olive field. Yeah. But no, it was absolutely fascinating. I mean, it felt we were literally discovering how this great work came about. Ian was a perfect guest. brilliantly primed. I've been talking to him all week on voicemails and various stuff. So thank you, Ian, so much for being a brilliant guest. Very kind.
It's so fun, isn't it? Like they're talking about how Rob came into the office. They send the work off. It's just rejected. Like I can see it, like the big red stamp on it. Sent back. No, not seeing that. Not seeing that. And the guy just rocks up to the office with a carry a bag of booze. Like let's get hosed and talk about the work and why it's so shit.
If you wrote that into a film or a documentary, you wouldn't believe it. You go, no, that doesn't.
I mean, that's Mad Men shit, isn't it?
Those were the days. I can see why those were the days. I mean, I thought it was quite mad when I started, but nah.
I was talking to someone recently, again, an older generation, and didn't work in advertising, but I was explaining, what we do and the podcast. He said he listened to an episode, switched it off after 5 minutes.
He's blocked.
Yeah, so David, if you're listening, we're still going, don't worry. But I was explaining what we do, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's like that program Mad Men." And I remember, you know what? I've got to go back and rewatch it because I watched the whole series when it came out, and I feel like it would. There's always something in it, like the lawnmower cutting the guy's toe off and all that stuff.
You know what? I used to, whenever I met people at parties, they go, "Oh, Mad Men, you're an ad man, you're an ad," and I just got so bored of it, so I didn't watch it. So I should watch it.
Oh, you should watch it. It is funny, but actually, Don Draper as John Hamm is.
Yeah, he is a legend. As it's made him,
really good actor.
So yes, that was wonderful. Thank you, Ian.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. So before we go any further, we should listen to our sponsors because they are the reason that we can pay the bills. So thank you again to our sponsors. Let's have a listen to what they have to say for us.
Dan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I do? Genuinely, do you know what I love about outdoor?
No, I don't.
Loads and loads. But one of the best things, I think Heg actually mentioned it, but we're champions of this. You can't swipe it. You can't skip it. It's everywhere. It's real and it's there. And if it's done well, the impact is massive.
You're saying it's omnipresent. Do you like that word?
Ooh. Swallowed the dictionary.
I think Bauer Media Outdoor really get that as well. I mean, they've got the scale as well to back that up. They've got 33,000 sites across the UK. But I think what's great is, having such a big media owner on board as a sponsor is the way they help our community and brands actually use the space properly.
Yeah, and they've got tons of guidance. How to craft great posters, making sure designs are not just seen but actually remembered, which is the absolute, the most important thing.
Powerful posters, if you will.
Exactly.
We're really lucky. This episode is brought to you by Bauer Media Outdoor. They're one of the UK's largest out-of-home media owners. The billboard at the end of my street is brought to you by Super Optimal. Design intelligence for out-of-home. Super Optimal delivers simple, machine-driven analysis and actionable insights for reviewing and improving out-of-home ad design. Designers and media teams can quickly analyze billboard and poster designs, gain optimization feedback, and deliver out-of-home design that is fit for purpose. Test and learn. Make informed design decisions and elevate your out-of-home campaigns at superoptimal.ai.
Ooh, That's Nice is brought to you by View to Fill, the out-of-home campaign photography and video experts. View to Fill have spent a decade mastering the art of out-of-home campaign capture. They know how these campaigns run: adaptive display schedules, dynamic creatives, and high expectations. That's why brands trust them to deliver stunning photography and next-level videography. From drones to time-lapse and motion capture, View to Fill turn your campaign into powerful content that lives far beyond the humble billboard. Because out-of-home campaigns are not just about being seen, it's about being remembered and creating a legacy. Want to future-proof your next campaign? Visit View to Fill to capture the essence of your campaign. Our music is sponsored by Gas Music, delivering sound, music, and magic.
So, we've got some great stuff coming up, Hugh.
Yeah. No, it's very exciting. I don't sound excited, but I am incredibly excited.
You're just thinking about all the lovely writing you'll be doing tonight when you're trying not to fall asleep. Hugh's going on another writing course tonight.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I had to hand in at the weekend, so I had to hand in. I know
you've reused this paper. So on one side I've got the script for today. On the other side, I've got your evaluation research questions from the 8th of February.
That's my wife's. And then Happening Clissold Park.
I've got Happening Clissold Park. Again.
Happened again. That's the cunning new title of my book.
I mean, it's good. Should we just read a little segment?
No,
we can't.
But to explain,
there, by the way,
we ran out.
Silence wrong.
I ran out of paper, and so Rachel's saying you can't throw paper away. So we keep all the old paper and then we turn it over and then we print it again. I wouldn't.
That's very frugal.
I wouldn't normally do that, but I'll get bollocked. So that's why that is that. So yeah, sorry for confusing you. We could have opened with a new chapter. From the book.
I was about to start. It was May. They emerged from the darkness in silence.
There was a
no, that's not what I'm supposed to be talking about.
There was a lonely man in glasses on a bench.
It's a bit like Anchorman when they start reading the wrong auto cue. That's what you were trying to do to me.
You got to move this on.
You got me confused. Anyway. Yes. Thank you again to our friends here at Soho Radio, Viral Tribe, and to Gas Music, who supply us with all this lovely music.
Yes.
And we'll be back again soon.
Cheers.
Love you.
Bye.